And the power edge is to Davis. I think he has him cut under the eye. Just cut.
That's what I've been preaching. Like, this gonna be fight of the year type caliber fight. Because obviously I'm not coming in there scared. I ain't coming in there to lay down. I ain't coming in there on none of that. I'm coming in there to do what I gotta do to get my hand raised.
Lamont Roach is showing a level of confidence that is impressive, especially for someone about to step into the ring against a fighter with an undefeated record. Facing a boxer with a perfect 30-0 record takes a lot of guts, but Roach has even more courage to talk trash about an opponent who has knocked out 28 of those 30 fighters. Confronting such a powerful and experienced boxer is no small feat, but Roach is ready to go head-to-head.
Right next after this fight. Like, Tank over, win, lose, draw, whatever. Who you want next? Look, if y'all don't know, even after I beat Tank...
Gervonta Tank Davis's greatness is clear to see, but many in the boxing world have criticized him for choosing opponents that some feel are easier to beat. They've raised concerns about how this affects his boxing legacy. However, that doesn't mean a fighter like Lamont Roach is going to back down. Their press conference next week is expected to be full of tension, and the Instagram Live they recently had gave fans just a taste of what their fight week will be like. Lamont Roach, though, has no problem showing respect to his opponents, even if they're up-and-coming fighters like Davis.
Avila, and Davis thinks he might have something here in round number 3. A big...
Obviously, I'm the best 130-pounder in the world. It's evident. I can't wait to prove it. I can't wait to show it. But... you know,
Gervonta Tank Davis faces his fair share of criticism. Some people question his record, others doubt his skills, and some even argue that his place in the sport isn't as strong as it should be. However, Lamont Roach doesn't agree with these critiques. Roach believes they don't hold much weight. Having grown up in a similar area as Davis, Roach knows him better than most and understands what he's capable of.
I'll prove that I'm one of the best fighters in the world. And this is the beginning of my legendary run. This right here.
Now, we've seen Ryan...
Over the years, Lamont Roach has watched Gervonta Tank Davis rise to fame, becoming a multi-division champion, a top-ranked pound-for-pound fighter, and what some consider the face of boxing. Roach has no problem acknowledging Davis's success, but while Davis enjoys his time at the peak, the current WBA super featherweight champion knows that nothing lasts forever. I'm going to show you all what it takes to be the new face of boxing on March 1st. Roach said during an episode of Against All Odds, The Reaper Tale, Episode 1.
And bombs away for Davis. All that confidence we saw in...
that, you know, because I've spoken to Rolly, their approach is, well, we're dehydrated, we had to go in...
As Lamont Roach mentions, he and Gervonta Tank Davis will face off on March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Roach has fought in the lightweight division before, but he built his reputation in the division just below it. The 5-pound weight difference, along with Davis's reputation for knocking out opponents with devastating power, has led many odds makers to believe that Roach doesn't stand much of a chance.
Nah, then they keep talking about some no disrespect. Come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Use a real fake for real. Like, use a real...
The critics and doubters can actually be a good thing, says Lamont Roach. He remembers when the sports books labeled him as the underdog against Hector Luis Garcia, and he proved them all wrong. Now, facing Gervonta Tank Davis, the 29-year-old knows exactly what he's up against. Davis, from Baltimore, has a reputation for dominating his opponents, recently stopping Frank Martin in the 8th round this past June with a brutal knockout. To avoid a similar fate, Roach understands that his preparation must be at an all-time high. It's work time, he says. Over the years, Tank has been accused of handpicking his opponents, but Roach is determined to show he's ready for the challenge.
Because of that cut, that body shot hurt him. Big body shots. Borrego drops.
For, bro. Every time you see me, it's what up, shawty. It's definitely, you know how you talk. Because you talking about, bro. I'm really him. I bring any type of smoke to anything in my way. Because you talking
Lamont Roach made it clear to Gervonta Tank Davis, saying, "You must think I'm just another one of those regular guys you fought before or something. LOL, cut it out." Roach is making sure the Baltimore native knows this fight won't be like the others. Even though he comes from a lower weight class, Roach wants this fight badly and is ready to do whatever it takes to shock the world. As for Davis, he kept his words in check and made it clear that he'll let his performance in the ring do all the talking.
Add anything to it?
No, not necessarily. I think maybe for the outside. I think maybe it's for the outside. I think the fire is the competitiveness between us both already, that we competed twice before. and 2 close fights in the amateurs, and that
Gervonta Tank Davis responded to Lamont Roach's tweet with a simple "say nothing," showing his confidence and dominance over the WBA super featherweight champion. This online exchange has definitely added some excitement to their upcoming fight, which will take place at 135 leagues with the WBA lightweight title on the line. Lamont Roach is a solid fighter, technically skilled and at a championship level. However, when it comes to pay-per-view opponents for Tank Davis, some fans would prefer to see someone who has delivered explosive performances at the highest level, or someone with a larger-than-life personality. Davis, on the other hand, is a true pay-per-view star. Whether or not you agree with how many of his fights have been on pay-per-view, and I personally disagree with some of them, he has been a fixture in the pay-per-view world for quite some time now.
Couple big lefts and a right, and a left and a right. This could be a stoppage. Final seconds.
What's been missing in some of these big pay-per-view fights is the right level of competition to justify those high fees. Lamont Roach is a solid fighter, but he hasn't yet reached the top of the sport, and I don't think his style or personality quite makes up for that. He's had success at super featherweight, but it's taken him some time to get there. If he had made multiple successful title defenses, a fight with Davis would make more sense. However, he's only defended his title once against Fierro McKay. We've seen Gervonta Davis in similar situations before, like when he fought Hector Luis Garcia. Since being stopped by Davis, Garcia's only loss was a split decision to Roach. But that's the way the pay-per-view business works. Once a fighter reaches that level of stardom, they stay on pay-per-view regardless of who they're fighting.
Danny, I wanted to get your thoughts. I appreciate you coming out. I wanted to get your thoughts, Danny, on the Tank Roach thing. So just your thoughts on the fight in general. What do you think about the fight?
Frank Martin, a former opponent of Gervonta Davis, is also a solid fighter. Unlike Roach, Martin is well established at lightweight. He was on track to fight Shakur Stevenson and had delivered some strong performances that generated interest at the highest level. There's no doubt that Davis is one of the best in the sport, which is why his careful choice of opponents can be frustrating to fans.
Of the round, you cannot be saved by the bell. Avila stays up.
Calm down, calm down, brother.
Come to the fight. Come to the fight.
They probably gonna get you fucked up. Look, fool. Hey, fool. It's me and you, fool.
It's important to note that Lamont Roach, who is highly regarded by those who know him, isn't the biggest super featherweight. However, he still seems capable of defending his WBA title at this weight. On the other hand, Gervonta Tank Davis is an extremely powerful lightweight. In the lead-up to his fights, Davis tends to stay quiet until he's pushed too far, which can make him get messy and even insulting. We saw this with Frank Martin, when Davis threatened to take Martin's girlfriend away from him. Lamont Roach has now become part of the drama surrounding Gervonta Tank Davis. Just yesterday, Roach boldly stated that he would beat Davis, and in response, Davis promised, "I'm going to chop bob and weave, and I'm going to end it in the 9th round. I like to show people they aren't who they say they are. I want to prove it to them." Davis reflected on his own first title win when the entire building doubted him before the fight. Fight Hype caught up with Richardson Hitchens and Kenneth Sims Jr. to get their thoughts on the upcoming match, and their answers might surprise you. When asked about the history between the two fighters, Hitchens, the undefeated super lightweight, spoke about the similarities between Tank and Roach. He warned fans not to underestimate Roach. Hitchens confidently predicted that the 25-minute one boxer would stun everyone, making it an exciting and brilliant fight.
It's about Davis believing he can get Avila out of there. And
years ago, I want to say like 2016, 2017 years ago. I think it's a great fight, because this guy Lamont Roach.
Richardson Hitchens pointed out that Lamont Roach grew up in a similar environment to Gervonta Tank Davis, and they share a lot of similarities. Hitchens believes many people are writing off Roach due to his loss to Jamel Herring in 2019, but he's shown steady consistency since then. The 180-pound fighter promised that the upcoming bout would be a technical masterpiece, and even he's excited to see it. When asked who might have the upper hand in a technical fight, Hitchens said it would be a fantastic matchup. He praised Tank Davis as a defensive genius, someone who knows how to protect himself and is skilled at maneuvering around his opponents.
He came up in that same type of environment as Tank. They both are DMV fighters. They both got.
Richardson Hitchens also mentioned that if the fight goes into the later rounds, Gervonta Tank Davis will have a clear advantage due to his almost perfect defense. Hitchens believes that Roach should aim to end the fight early because if it stretches into the later rounds, there's a strong chance Davis will control the pace and get the outcome he wants. However, Hitchens defended Lamont Roach as a capable opponent, stating, "It's not like Tank is just picking a nobody. Lamont probably knows how to fight better than a lot of the guys Tank has faced."
Man, he was almost right at the end round. Look at these shots.
I think the ropes are holding him up there.
Kind of like a lot of similarities. They both box each other numerous times. And I think that a lot of people riding Lamont off because of his one loss with Jamal.
Welterweight star Kenneth Sims Jr., who has fought both Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight. Initially, Sims didn't want to make a prediction as he is on good terms with both fighters and felt it would be disrespectful to choose a side. However, he eventually opened up about his experiences. Sims reflected on the memorable moments he shared with Roach during their Nationals match, where they faced off in the semifinals.
Definitely a fight that, like a great fight for boxing. I think that boxing fans are trying to, like, basically shut Lamont out. I don't know, maybe because he's not a big name.
When asked what both fighters need to do to win, Kenneth Sims Jr., an Illinois native, pointed out that both Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis are counterpunchers. He explained that for either fighter to succeed, one of them will have to step out of their comfort zone to make the other open up. Sims also mentioned that Davis is typically a slow starter, taking some time to find his rhythm. He said, "Tank starts slow, but as the fight goes on, he picks it up and becomes more active." To win this time, Sims believes Tank will need to be more aggressive earlier in the fight than usual. If he doesn't, it could be too late, especially with how fast Roach moves and scores points early in the match.
But I love that combination when he put a 3-punch combination in between that instead of loading.
I'm looking forward to watching the fight.
Do you think the fact that it is going to be a technical fight, do you think that favors Lamont, or does it favor Tank?
This perspective was surprising, especially since many people have already dismissed Lamont Roach in his lightweight title debut. On the other hand, Gervonta Tank Davis typically stays quiet during the build-up to his fights, only getting vocal when he's pushed to his limits. When he gets angry, he tends to become messy and insulting, like we saw in his confrontation with Frank Martin, where Davis threatened to take Martin's girlfriend. Lamont Roach has now joined the drama surrounding Gervonta Tank Davis, after boldly stating he would beat Davis in their upcoming fight. Davis has faced criticism for his choice of opponents, with many accusing him of picking easy fights to build his record. Some critics have even slammed the American fighter for cherry-picking his opponents and stacking up his resume without facing the toughest competition.
Loading up with one shot at a time. I'm going to continue to stress that, guys.
In the face of boxing, we weren't able to make the grand arrivals yesterday. I know sometimes, like Canelo, I'm sure he doesn't want to go to the arrivals, doesn't want to talk to us and all our questions, but is that...
After Gervonta Tank Davis's victory over Frank Martin a few months ago, he named several fighters he had his eye on. However, Lamont Roach wasn't on that list. Instead, Davis mentioned big names like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Isaac Cruz, Shakur Stevenson, and Vasyl Lomachenko. So, it's a bit of a mystery how Lamont Roach, a fighter who isn't even in the lightweight division, ended up as Davis's next opponent. How he managed to secure this spot remains unclear.
Going on, like combat the sports period, because the NBA is they in the finals and things like that. Just everything. I feel as though I'm excited to be a.
This will be Lamont Roach's first time competing at 135 pounds for the title, and it's happening because the World Boxing Association granted him a special sanction to face Gervonta Tank Davis. At 30 years old, Roach has been on the radar of fighters like Devin Haney, who has reacted with a laughing emoji to Davis's recent announcement about the match. Interestingly, Roach wasn't the only opponent being considered. Edwin De Los Santos was also in talks to fight Davis.
Avila needed to show something at the beginning of the round to stay in it, and now Davis thinks
part of everything that's going on. Just to be here today, fighting in the MGM, you know what I mean? A great event. You know what I mean? I'm just.
Thank you, guys.
Tank, what you got in the finals?
In a conversation with Mill City Boxing, Humberto Betancourt shared that Davis's team had reached out to them with a generous offer. They began preparing for the fight, but eventually, Lamont Roach claimed the opportunity for himself. When asked about the matchup, Betancourt said, I'm not knocking him, it's a good fight. Roach is moving up from 130 to 135. But why would you fight someone who's naturally a 135-pounder? He also pointed out that when comparing De Los Santos and Roach, the latter would be the easier opponent for Davis.
You got more to do. Got more to do, guys. I don't know. Right, Dallas. You got Dallas? Yeah.
As Betancourt pointed out, it's more challenging to face a natural 135-pound fighter than someone who has to move up in weight for the fight. However, this doesn't take away from the fact that Lamont Roach is the reigning champion at 130 pounds. He's currently on a 6-fight win streak and has only suffered 1 loss in his 27-fight career. Known for his explosive power and ability to draw a crowd, Tank Davis has quickly become one of the brightest stars in boxing.
Adam Dunn and Michelle Myers has seen enough. It is over.
Fans are going to love to hear that. You never know what could happen. Is Tank somebody you would like to see yourself in the ring with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Near the end of 2025, that's what we're aiming for.
There you go. There you go. You heard from the man.
The 29-year-old Baltimore native Tank Davis has an impressive record of 30 wins. Davis has a unique strategy in the ring. He often lets his opponents win a few early rounds before delivering a powerful knockout punch with a single devastating blow. As with his past fights, Davis has promised his upcoming opponent a knockout they won't forget.
For all the champions, I wanted to unify at least one belt at 130. So whoever the champion is, whoever the champions are.
Tank Davis had some harsh words for Lamont Roach, telling him, "I'll break you up. Keep your mother and kids at home." The last fighter Davis said something like this to didn't make it past the 8th round, where he was knocked out cold by one of Davis's powerful punches. This upcoming matchup between Davis and Roach has an added layer of excitement, as there's a sense of revenge involved. Even though they're in different weight classes, Davis and Roach are no strangers to each other, which makes this fight all the more intriguing.
None of that.
Not at all.
I'm telling you, I'm going to f him up.
Not at all. Never. Nothing's
y'all,
going to get what do I look like getting up?
This matchup between Lamont Roach and Tank Davis brings to mind the rivalry between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, who had their first professional fight after facing off 6 times as amateurs, each winning 3 times. Unlike that, Roach and Davis have only fought twice before, with Davis winning both encounters. Now, Roach is looking for revenge, especially for one of the fights he feels he lost due to a bad decision by the judges. There's also another layer of interest surrounding this fight, as it may signal the start of the end for Tank Davis, given his claims that he plans to retire this year.
See Armory, fight number 1 on PBC on Spike, is a knockout.
Stop closing up. Gotta let it go.
Lamont Roach needs a bit of trust from boxing fans to boost his confidence and give him the push he needs to achieve his ultimate goal on fight night, defeating Tank Davis to win the World Boxing Association title. Recently, Roach watched some of Gervonta Davis's training footage and shared his thoughts on social media, tweeting, "Easy work there," before eventually deleting the post.
Another guy from Ukraine, Dennis Baranchik or something like that.
Okay. I thought you and Shakur are really. I think people in the comments are actually wanting that fight, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that'd be a good fight.
Lamont Roach recently tweeted something that only those familiar with his previous posts, or who had seen Gervonta Davis's training footage, would understand. Before that, he responded to a fan who wrote, "We are whipping DC bum for the rest of the year. Ravens today, Tank in December." Roach fired back saying, "This stuff is different over here," making it clear that he doesn't plan to be an easy target when he faces Tank Davis in the ring. Lamont Roach has been putting in the work, trying to build hype ahead of his big fight. With so much on the line, he knows he needs to focus on training and preparing for the payday that could change his career. To get there, he's been making an effort to stir up some tension, trying to draw Gervonta Tank Davis into a serious feud. Roach is determined to make a lasting impression before they step into the ring together. If you ask me, I'd suggest Lamont Roach focus on his training and perfecting his skills ahead of the biggest fight of his career. But maybe he has a different plan, especially after he started a social media battle with Gervonta Tank Davis. Despite being the WBA super featherweight champion, Roach hasn't exactly generated excitement among fans for the fight. However, both fighters decided to spice things up by exchanging heated words on X, with Roach trying to get under Tank's skin and receiving an impressive response in return.
All right, so a funny thing that people probably don't know is that I've been, considered an opponent, or like a considerable opponent before.
The argument began when heavyweight boxer Marcellus Williams asked Davis about the camp fees to spar with the champion. Williams was eager to improve his skills and was fully motivated to make it happen. However, Lamont Roach Jr. quickly responded to the tweet saying, "I'm gonna need to spar with you, bro." That's funny. Davis immediately asked what the post meant, and Roach shared a fan's reply that explained the tweet. Roach shared a fan's comment that said, "You need to spar with someone heavier because he's coming for you," which explains the message behind Roach's tweet. According to the Reaper, the 30-year-old boxer needs to train with heavier opponents before his fight in December. While Davis might think the fight will be an easy one, Roach is determined to use this opportunity to make a name for himself and boost his career. Tank didn't let the disrespect slide and quickly fired back with a response. I recommend that you avoid talking too much, as it can have negative effects on you. You probably already know this. I also believe that Roach should focus on speaking through his actions in the ring rather than online. And that's all I have for now. For the latest news, updates, and highlights from the world of boxing, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll be alerted when we upload fresh and exciting content like this. Until next time, peace out!